Hello, ladies. Welcome back to another episode of the I'm Jess Sayin podcast. You have officially entered a safe space. This is a space where we explore self awareness, accountability, and we are working on building the healthiest relationships that we've ever had. And the most important relationship, the one with ourselves. We're definitely working on some positive energy, being better every day. This is the space that is going to support you in your growing journey. I am your host, Jess, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that has been kind of heavy on social media a little bit. So we're going to be talking about unconditional love. And, I really feel like a lot of people are confused on what the meaning of unconditional love is. So in order for us to talk about unconditional love, we have to talk about unconditional tolerance, because that is what a lot of people are referring to when they are trying to say, if you do this, if you don't do these things, then you don't love a person unconditionally. Or when people say it's impossible to love someone unconditionally, typically what they start explaining is unconditional tolerance. So I am here today to explain to you the difference between the two and to let you know, that is possible. It's definitely possible to love someone unconditionally. And if you struggle with it, girl, I'm here to give you tips. So don't worry. So if you've ever found yourself in a relationship, whether it's a romantic one, family, friendship, if you ever found yourself in a relationship where you're constantly overlooking things, forgiving things, giving things, all in the name of love, then this is definitely the episode for you. Because while love is very powerful, we all know that true feeling of genuine love. And if you do not know that feeling, I do hope that you get to experience that before you leave this earth, because it really is a fulfilling feeling to experience. But I do want to point out there is a fine line between loving someone unconditionally and constantly finding yourself tolerating behaviors that just do not serve you. So by the end of this episode, I want you guys to have a little bit more clarity on the difference between the two. And I do want you to take away some tips on how to maintain your healthy boundaries when you may be faced with situations like these. Because I know it can be tough when you have problems like this with people that you love and you're trying to be supportive and you're trying not to abandon them and make it seem like you're not there for them. I know that can be a struggle, but we still want to maintain healthy boundaries because you have to look out for yourself first. You can't help someone else if you're over in the corner drowning. So we have to be able to maintain those healthy boundaries. And you also need to just make sure that you're loving healthily. You want to make sure you're loving others without losing or sacrificing yourself in the process. So when we're talking about unconditional love, we're basically talking about a love that is not circumstantial, is not dependent on a person's achievements or how perfect you want or think that they are. It's that type of love that says, no matter what, I accept you as you are, regardless of what you're going through in this time, whatever struggles you may be having, I still love you. That is what unconditional love really is. And that is the kind of love that's so powerful. And it is also the foundation of a healthy relationship, a true healthy relationship, including, once again, the one with yourself. Unconditional love is not about accepting someone just because they do everything right. It's far from that. It's about loving them despite the things that they do that you may not like, despite their imperfections, despite whatever it is that they may be going on, whatever hurdles they may be facing. You love them through it. You love them because of it. You love seeing them go through their journey, because we all have a journey in this life. And just because someone may not make the best decision, or they may not be growing as fast as you would like, or may not be doing the things that you want them to do, even when all of that is happening, you're still loving them through it all. But the key to it is that unconditional love is not accepting harmful behavior. All of those things that I just explained, they are examples of things that people may go through that are not harming you. So I don't want you to get it misconstrued and confuse yourself with thinking that even when a person is doing something harmful to you, that you're supposed to love them through that. No, you're not supposed to, because above all, you're supposed to love yourself enough to remove yourself from those type of situations. So I do want you to remember that even when you are loving someone unconditionally, you need to continue to love yourself unconditionally, and you need to love yourself first. And that way you can understand, hey, this is not good for me. This is not good for me, and it's time for me to cut it off and remove myself from it, because it's not serving me any purpose. I have been there before. I found myself having to either limit my contact and interactions with people or just cutting them completely off. I went through a cutoff era where I was just literally like clipping everyone, and I had to just kind of stop myself and say, okay, Jess, you probably cutting a little bit too much. But then now that I look back on it, no, I wasn't. I probably didn't cut enough fast enough, honestly, because it's just we're not serving each other. Because what happens is when you're doing things that are harming me, I'm going to eventually start to resent you for sticking around trying to love you through whatever toxic behavior it is that you're exuding. And then whether if it's a friend or a relationship or family member, I'm not going to be the best person to you. So what ends up happening is you think you're loving someone through it, but deep down, you're really not, because you're going to start to show behaviors that's probably going to mirror what they're doing to you. Not exactly harmful, but you may start to find yourself being like nice, nasty, passive aggressive, and then you end up becoming someone that you never were, because you think that you're loving someone through their hard times while they're treating you badly. We're going to put an end to that today. So something to consider before you even get to a space to where you feel like you need to cut them off. You have to remember that true love, it consists of you holding that person accountable. It consists of you encouraging them to grow, encouraging them to get better, encouraging them to set healthy boundaries. As you're on your journey of growing, I don't know how you typically handle it, but me personally, I know I don't think I have anyone in my close knit circle that goes to therapy. But when I have my therapy sessions, I'm always sharing with them like tips that my therapist gave me. I'm encouraging them to set boundaries just like I set boundaries with them. They're someone that I love, but I still have to set boundaries when I see that they may be doing something that may not be in my best interest. And so I'll let them know, hey, I'm the type of person, I don't know how you do it. I don't know if there's some type of therapy etiquette to where you're not supposed to say, oh, my therapist told me to do this, or my therapist told me to do that. But I'm that type of person. I'll be like, listen, I spoke about this in my session today, and me and my therapist came up with this game plan that I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. So this is what I'm doing. And yeah, that's just what it is. And it kind of, to me, I feel like it sheds a light on the situation to let them know, like, okay, this must be something actually serious. Like, she's talking to her therapist about it. Like, what, she's coming up with a plan to set boundaries against me? Like, what is happening? Like I'm hoping that sends up some flags. Like, hey, this is something that's really important to me. So you need to get with it, like, and not even just to let them know that they could possibly be on the chopping block, but to also encourage them to do the same. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you're sharing this with someone that is treating you badly or anything like that. Just sharing it with your friends, sharing your experience. I think it's very important to be transparent about the things that we go through on a daily basis, about the things that we struggle with and with our mental health. And I know this channel is mainly based around women because I want to support sisters, I'm here for y'all. But this is actually for men too, because I know that many times men don't feel I don't want to say safe, but they may not feel like they have many safe spaces to really discuss how they are feeling mentally and emotionally. And I really do think that when it comes to our close circles, we need to start creating the space to where people feel comfortable sharing those moments. And if you're someone that is on your healing journey, I feel that the best way to create that space is by you being the leader of the pack. So you can start off by just sharing some little things, whatever, doesn't have to be anything really big, but just sharing like small things that you've been experiencing during your healing journey. And then eventually, once they hear you sharing so much, it may make them feel comfortable, like, well, hey, this person is being very vulnerable with me. I feel comfortable being vulnerable with her or him. And, you just kind of create that circle of support. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I kind of went off left field. This part wasn't even in my notes, but here we are. So I feel like that's something that I really needed to share with you guys, because it's just really important. Don't just have a circle of people that are there just to hold up space. You guys really do need to be a support system for each other if you consider someone to be a part of your close-knit circle. This is where things get a little bit tricky. We're going to talk about unconditional tolerance. So, unconditional tolerance, it happens when you allow unhealthy situations, harmful behavior to continue in the name of love. You catch my air quotes when I say in the name of love, because it's not really love. You're just saying that you're accepting this behavior in the name of love because you love this person. This is why I'm allowing them to treat me this way, because I love this person. This is why I'm allowing them to do this, because I love this person. This is why I keep forcing myself to try and forgive them every single time they do something harmful to me. And I also do want to dig a little bit deeper on harmful. Harmful doesn't always have to be physical. You can harm someone many different ways: emotionally, mentally, financially. Harmful behavior can be something as simple as, hey, I set a boundary. I let you know what the boundary was and you continue to cross it. That is harmful because you're crossing my boundaries. If you're disrespecting me in any kind of way, that is also harmful. And of course, the cause of pain, not just, to me, I will say the cause of intentional pain, because there's a very big difference. Sometimes you can hurt a person's feelings and not do it on purpose, but then there's some people that intentionally do seek out to try and hurt you. Once again, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. And in saying that, I do want to, I'm sorry guys, I'm just saying things as it's coming to me, but I do want to bring up the fact about when you spin the block. This is a really big thing, because a lot of times we go back into relationships with people that have done us wrong, and you convince yourself that they've changed so much, they're so much better, and it's because you want them to be better, and it's because you don't want to actually accept the fact that you may be making a bad decision once again. So you convince yourself that they have changed and they are better. And while they may be showing you those things, like they did the last time, they may be showing you the good side, oh, this is me putting my good foot forward. They've polished up their representative a little bit more, probably made it to where they can hold up the facade a little bit longer. But sometimes you just really have to be careful, especially if it was any kind of abuse in the relationship or addictions, whatever there may be, whatever harmful traits that they may have had in the past. You definitely want to be on the lookout for that. And because sometimes when people come back to you, they're not coming back for good reasons. Some people come back to finish you off. And I know it's hard to believe, but there are some people out there that are very vindictive. And if you found the willpower to walk away from them, they take it very, very personally. And they will come back just to pretend like they want you back, just to hurt you even more than they did the last time. So definitely look out for that. Do your due diligence. It's always a reason why you left the first time. I'm not saying people can't change, but I will say just dig a little bit deeper to make sure you know that they've actually changed. Make them work for it, and make sure you're not, you don't have on the rose glasses, seeing in the clouds and wanting it to be something that it's not. So be careful. So I would like you guys to just take a moment to self-reflect a little bit and just think about all of your relationships that you have at the current time, and just ask yourself, like, have I been tolerating something in the name of love that's actually been hurting me? And make sure you're being honest with yourself. Really be honest with yourself when you think about this question. Because if the answer is yes, then it's definitely the time for you to take a closer look at whether you're practicing love, or are you simply just allowing behaviors that don't align with what you're worth. Because if it does not align, it needs to be removed. Like, I'm sorry, you guys. Like I said before, I am like the cut off queen. But if you guys are not serving each other in a positive light, I don't understand the reason for the connection. You can't say because of time, because we've been friends since kindergarten, because we've known each other for this many years, oh, because we've been together for 15 years, how can we walk away from this? It doesn't matter. What am I going to do? What are you going to do if you're still staying connected to someone that's steady trying to bring you down? What are you going to do if you're steady staying connected to someone where you're trying to get up to level 10 and they're cool with being at level 5, and they're not trying to support you or nor encourage you to get to the level that you know you should be at? What are you going to do when you're staying connected to someone that doesn't understand or see your vision? What are you going to do? You wonder, what are you going to do when you remove this person from your life? But I'm more concerned about, what are you going to do when it's 5 years from now and you're still in this relation, you're still connected to this person that is not serving you and is continuously holding you back? And I know people can say, oh, well, just because you're attached to that person doesn't mean it's going to affect you. It will. I'm here to tell you, it will. Anyone that is in your personal space on a continuous basis, they're going to have some kind of effect on you. You're a product of your environment. And this is generally speaking. I'm not talking about the few people that have grown up in struggling type situations and they've made it out. But the thing about it is, even they were still a product of their environment. It's just, fortunately, the way their mindset was set up, they made lemonade out of their lemons instead of becoming a lemon. That's what the difference is. You're still a product. It just depends on what are you going to do with what you're given. But when it comes to people really do have a way of influencing you, and you don't realize that you've been influenced until you find yourself in a horrible situation, or until you look up and realize you've wasted so much time doing or participating or being connected with someone that just really did not serve you, and probably assisted you in being in a worse situation than where you were when you guys first got connected. So that's just something to consider. Let's go ahead and break down some key factors that will explain to you the difference between unconditional love and unconditional tolerance. So unconditional love respects your boundaries. It knows where the line is between the give and take and the self-sacrifice. On the other hand, unconditional tolerance ignores boundaries. It keeps allowing harmful behaviors because you're afraid of the conflict, rejection, or the possibility of losing someone. Number 2 is accountability. So in a relationship that's grounded in unconditional love, both people will hold each other accountable. Both people will hold each other accountable. There's also a mutual understanding that although the love is unconditional, we're still going to maintain the respect and the trust that we have for each other. Now, in a relationship where it's mainly based on unconditional tolerance, the accountability tends to go out the window. You keep letting things slide, hoping that they'll change, hoping that the person will become better, hoping that maybe you can influence them to become better, hoping that you can mold them and make them better, hoping that time will heal all things. Number 3. Now, this is my personal favorite one because this is something that I know definitely goes on when it comes to your family relationships, romantic and friendships as well, but definitely family. They always look to you to throw yourself on the cross. So, number 3, we're coming in. It is self-respect versus self-sacrifice. So, unconditional love starts with self-love. You cannot love other people if you don't love and respect yourself enough to stand up for what you deserve. Unconditional tolerance, on the other hand, it's you sacrificing your own needs and your own well-being just for the sake of you keeping the relationship intact, even when and if the relationship is not even healthy. So the key takeaway is tolerating mistreatment and unhealthy behavior in these relationships is not you showing how much you love the other person. It's actually you showing how little you love yourself. And it's you showing that you're actually willing to abandon yourself in the process. So the first step to practicing unconditional love is, of course, setting boundaries. I don't know if you guys understand that setting boundaries is actually very healthy. It puts things into perspective of how the relationship should go or shouldn't go. And it actually creates a relationship that's based on respect. Because the truth is, you can love someone and still tell them, hey, I am not okay with this. Hey, I'm not cool with that. Hey, I think that we should probably do things this way. Number 2, something that a lot of us struggle with in romantic relationships. Communicating honestly. You really need to be honest about your feelings, about what you're thinking, about what you expect of a person. You really do need to be honest in your communication, because unconditional love does not mean that you just sweep things under the rug. It means that you are bold and brave enough to tell someone, hey, I need this. I don't want this. You're brave enough to have those difficult conversations, regardless of how they may go. If someone's behavior is hurting you, you definitely need to speak up as soon as possible. Because honestly, loving someone unconditionally does not mean you just be quiet when things aren't going right. It's you having the courage to speak up for yourself and ask for what you need. Number 3, this is a very important one because it can be hard for some people, and also because some people really have it in their heads that walking away from a situation is not love, when indeed it's okay to love someone from afar. It's a really tough decision that you have to make sometimes when you have to decide to walk away from someone, especially when you guys have been attached for an extended period of time. However, choosing to walk away from a situation, from a relationship that is no longer serving you, or when the other person is just not willing to grow or change for the better, it's completely fine. It is okay to walk away. Number 4, focus on your healing. Now, this is something you need to be practicing regardless of if you're trying to love somebody unconditionally or not. But I do want to say that if you found yourself in a pattern of unconditional tolerance, then it's definitely time for you to focus on your healing journey, because you need to understand what is it about you that believes that you need to tolerate this kind of behavior in order for you to feel loved. And I'm putting emphasis on feeling love, because if someone has been mistreating you, they are not actually loving you. You're receiving it as love, but trust me, it's not actually love. And ultimately, anyways, self-love should always be your priority, because the more you love on yourself, the less of the nonsense you're going to be willing to tolerate. All right, ladies, so it is time for your accountability challenge for this week. I hope you all are excited as I am, because I'm going to do the challenge too. Just because when I make these episodes, I'm talking to myself as well, because I too struggle on a daily basis. Unfortunately, there's not a one answer fix all. So once again, we're going on this journey together. So your challenge for this week, I want you to reflect on any relationships that you currently have that you feel like you may have been confusing unconditional love with unconditional tolerance. And then after you finish reflecting, write down a boundary that you feel like you can put in place that may kind of get some things in order. Then I need for you to practice having an honest conversation, whether it's with your romantic partner, your family, your friend, or even if it's with yourself. You need to go ahead and have the conversation about what boundary or boundaries are going to be put in place going forward so that you can let them know or let yourself know what is no longer acceptable for you. Because you do deserve relationships where you are loved, respected, and valued, not for what you're giving, but just for who you are. I hope today's episode gave you a little bit more clarity on the difference between unconditional love and unconditional tolerance. If this episode has resonated with you in any kind of way, please make sure you like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Let me know what was your takeaway from the video. Is there any kind of information you would like to hear me discuss in the future? And also make sure you share this with someone that could also find this information useful, because we're all on our healing journeys, and we definitely do need to be in support of each other. As always, I am so grateful for you guys supporting the channel. And make sure you grab my free ebook. It's called Stay True to You. It is a guide that is going to help you not lose yourself while in romantic relationships. I do hope you guys also find that very helpful. You can also share that link with a friend. So until next time, I just want you guys to remember that real love respects boundaries, real love holds people accountable, and real love starts with you. So until next time, I'm just saying.